Welcome everybody to Style Wednesday with the Queen of Style. You have live here Wendy Isaac, the Queen of Style, and we are doing a special edition today. The special edition is actually the inauguration that happened earlier today and what we think about when this special event happened in America. We do have a new president and we do have a new vice president, which is a female, and that's why we're having this amazing show. So guys, this evening, as I usually say, it's a special edition. It's not a regular show. It's all about the empowerment and the inauguration of the new president and the new vice president. Today we have a panel, an amazing panel that will be here with us. And I can't understand how I got all these ladies together, but I did. And it is going to be epic. So we're gonna welcome Dr. Kim Isaac DeBarros.
Hi, everyone.
Dr. Kim DeBarros, tell us a little bit about yourself real quick.
Hi, my name is Kim Isaac DeBarros, and I'm sister to the Queen of Style. That's first and foremost. I'm also a psychologist working here stateside, and I am very happy to speak today on women's empowerment.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Then we're gonna welcome next Ambassador, and one of my icons from way back in the day. I looked up to her. I couldn't get enough of her. Ambassador Jacinth Henry Martin. Welcome, Jacinth. Tell us a little bit about you and who you are.
Thank you very much, Wendy. And I first want to greet all of the sisters on the panel this evening. I'm Jacinth Henry Martin. When I was first asked by Wendy, what is my title? I said, I'm a Jacinth person, but if you ask, I still carry the title of ambassador. I'm actually a former elected parliamentarian in the Federal Parliament of St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm a former language teacher. I speak English, French, Spanish, and I do translations from Portuguese as well. I'm currently employed at the Organization of American States as an advisor in the office of the Assistant Secretary General after having served as ambassador of St. Kitts and Nevis to the United States of America and permanent representative to the Organization of American States. Well, honestly, I am basically a Jacinth person. I'm a mother of 3 sons, and that is how I would like to be seen as your sister and friend and someone who stands up for women.
Excellent. And thank you, Jacinth. And we have my mentor in the fashion world, none other than fashion icon. I call her fashion mom, Sophia Davis herself. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on Queen of Style. I'm Sophia Davis. I am editor-in-chief of Fashion Avenue News, as well as 14 other publications. I want to say hello to all of the panelists. Welcome. It's going to be amazing.
Sophia, thank you so much for joining us. And next we have the amazing, and this is somebody who I knew as a childhood friend, and we have Miss Sheila Hendricks. Welcome.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome also to the beautiful ladies on this panel. I know that we're gonna have a wonderful evening. I am Sheila Hendricks. As a profession, I am a senior probation and parole officer. I work for the Virginia Department of Corrections. My platform is I am an advocate for helping people to just simply be better. And I'm also an advocate for children of incarcerated parents. And tonight, I'd just like to share a little bit about my profession and my role in a male-dominant profession as a senior probation and parole officer.
Amazing, amazing. And we have, I call her the First Lady of Retail because the amazing consultant, Camille Austin, She consults for many businesses around and give their insights on good, bad, and indifferent. First Lady of Retail, Camille Austin, welcome.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you, Wendy, for giving me the opportunity to be on your panel. Welcome to all you lovely ladies. My name is Camille Austin. I have been in retail for just over 30 years. And most recently, I have been doing the job of consultant. Thank you.
Thank you, Camille. Then we have none other than, I would say, Corinne Phipps. We were on the track field together. I worshiped her. You know, when I saw her, it was one of those things that I always looked up to my peers with is Corinne Phipps. Welcome.
Thank you, Wendy. Such an honor this evening to be on this panel. My name is Corinne Phipps Benjamin, and I greet my fellow panelists. Such a pleasure to see your beautiful faces, you know, those of you who I haven't seen for some time, and to meet new faces. Thank you so much for having us this evening, Wendy. I am Corinne Phipps Benjamin, as I said. I am known to be a communications and marketing expert, and today was a symbolic day, very enlightening, empowering, and such a great opportunity to witness history. And so I look forward to engaging with each of you on women's empowerment and women's advancement. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, Corinne. And we have, I call her Dr. Diva, the only Dr. Virginia Phipps. Welcome, Dr. Diva.
Good evening, all. It is my pleasure and honor to be on this panel, and I appreciate each and every one of you on this panel for what you can offer to us. I am an internal medicine trained physician that works primarily in a hospital setting, so I'm called a hospitalist. I've been doing this work for the past 17 years. I am a women's advocate, and I'm here to address the issues of disparities in medicine that affects women. And today's an illustrious day because we just elected our first Black vice president. So it's an honor to be here among you guys.
Amazing, thank you. And the one and only Beverly, a friend of a friend of a friend, always my sister as well. Looked up to you as my sister growing up. So Beverly, welcome. Beverly?
Good evening. This is Beverly DeBreto. I am here in Florida. I run a private practice. I'm a behavioral analyst, and basically we're something like psychologists, but we're not psychologists. We're field of psychology, but our focus is on action, actual behaviors that we can observe and change. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I also love fashion. I'm not a fashion designer like Wendy, but I have to have my fashion together all the time.
Well, you guys are on Style Wednesday, so that means you got a little something, right? We bring people to Style Wednesday that has or have, or we're gonna reinvent them, which have some sort of fashion aspect. So thank you, ladies. It's always a pleasure. You know, I've been thinking about sometime how to have all these wonderful ladies in one place. And when I thought about this situation with the inauguration and our first Black vice president, I said, this is the perfect opportunity. So today, it's all about women's empowerment. It's all about letting us know what works and why have we been held down in our fields. And now since we have a new VP in place, as I would say in my twang, let's talk the things then, right? Let's talk the things then. So first, we're gonna start off, why pearls? Why I said you guys to wear pearls today. Fashion mom, let's take it away. Why are we wearing pearls?
Well, first of all, I'm a pearl type girl anyway. So I love pearls. I have so so much jewelry that's pearls, but pearls represent strength. And that's how come when, Kamala Harris wears the pearls, even though she may have on sneakers, she may have on, maybe what people would consider dressed down, the pearls show her strength. So I think, just, kind of representing her and, kind of standing with her, it's definitely a pearl day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. So before we get into the nitty gritty, I just want to say this amazing quote that I found. And I love it because it represents all of us that's here today. We need women who are strong. Can be gentle. So educated, they can be humble. So fierce that they can be compassionate. So passionate, they can be rational. And so disciplined, they can be free. And that is definitely all of us in this Zoom live panel this evening. Every one of you that I have on this panel has placed or a particular moment in my life. And that's why I wanted to have you all here with me today. So thank you so much. Today we saw the inauguration of President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. I would like to think about what happened in this country. It's a change, right? It's a change to have the first woman of color, not only color, but guess what? Caribbean descent. And that's why we are here, because we are all Caribbean people. And Fashion Mom, you are Caribbean as well, because you've been around with me. So I say you're Caribbean because it's a difference. We have a lot of things in our places where we work and what careers we do. And we always, in a male-dominated world sometimes, I would say. And then we want to try to strive to be in a different area. So when I think about kicking this off, as I would say, Ambassador Jacinth Henry Martin, can you please kick it off?
Let me start by thanking Wendy for putting this panel together. It's wonderful when, as women, we can come together and discuss things that are important to us. And I like to say that today is not just important because all of these ceremonies are important. All of the inauguration events are important, but this, beyond important for us, is symbolic. It is symbolic because it is historical. It's the first time that we are having a woman of color, a woman first and foremost, and then a woman of color as the Vice President of the United States. This speaks not just to the fact that as a country, the United States is advancing, because many other countries have had women at the helm before, but the great United States, this is a first for a country to which we all look for leadership. But it speaks to the fact that the door has now been opened for future generations of males and females, young boys and young girls, to see the reality that it doesn't matter whether you are male or female, if you are capable, if you are passionate, if you are empowered and driven to do a job, and you have proven that you can do it properly, then there should be no barrier based on the fact of sex. I want to say that I want to see this reflected in the schools as well. I want not just for young boys and young girls to look and say this can happen at that level, but let's start in the schools where when you have usually you have male-dominated areas. If you're looking for a head prefect, sometimes it's a male. If you're looking for someone to do what we term the heavy lifting, not necessarily physical work, it's a male. We need now to be inspired by the door that Vice President Kamala Harris has opened You know, it is said that when you give a woman of color an opportunity to put her toe through the door, there's nothing that can hold back the entire body from going after that. She's done more than put her toe in the door. She's gone there herself, but for others, it opens pathways to progress. I can now see we're in all fields across the spectrum, maybe in medicine, in space, in engineering, in space engineering, in across the spectrum, as I said, that women are now going to be elevated, women are now going to be seen as equals, women are going to be able to prove themselves. There is something else that was different about today. For the first time, we are now going to have a second gentleman. For the first time, a gentleman was holding the Bible as his wife. Basically was, in terms of where she stands in the world, the senior person, not in the relationship, because I believe in relationships, males and females work together to make it work. So I don't believe in seniority in a relationship, but certainly we have to acknowledge that Kamala Harris is now the most powerful woman on earth. It's not just that she is the vice president of the United States. If when the president is male, he is the most powerful man on earth, then being in the position of vice president, she is the most powerful woman on earth. And I'm not really desirous of putting any, as we say, in St. Kitts, we say we put goat mouth. I'm not trying to put goat mouth, but should anything happen to the president of the United States that incapacitates him to the point where he's unable to carry out the functions for which he has been elected, Vice President Kamala Harris assumes the role of president. And so vested in all of the pomp and ceremony that we saw today is a lot of responsibility for and on behalf of our country, but to a large extent, for and on behalf of the rest of the world, because countries look to the United States of America for leadership in diplomacy, in all of the scientific endeavors, in all spheres. And so she is at the helm now as a woman that inspires all of us, that tells us that she's a woman of power and influence. But more than that, I think we can look to her as persons of Caribbean descent, all of us, as a sister. That is important because I do not believe, and I have not seen where she has lost her capacity to just be Kamala Harris. That is important wherever you soar. If you can keep your feet on the ground at the same time, you're headed in the right direction. It is up to us, as I just closed this, my opening salvo, in saying to support her, to speak well of her, because very often as women, and often as Caribbean women sometimes, we find the negatives that we can speak about when we refer to our sisters rather than about the positives. Let us support her. Let us not be in any space where she's being maligned and we condone it with our silence. Let us be there for her as I want us to be there for each other as sisters. I thank you. I'm really, really inspired by her and passionate about the fact that I can't see that she will do less than any other man, any man who has held that position. I believe in her. I believe we should support her. And I look forward to hearing great things as she continues in her newly elected position.
And Jacinth, you've been in the political arena. So, and I know it's a male dominated. So Kamala being the VP is really significant to you at this time.
It is. And like I say, although I have served in a lot of male dominated realms, I mean, I've been in elective politics, so there's nothing, what can I say? You can get scarred if you enter politics and you're not prepared to do the battle. But I don't see myself just as a politician or as a former politician. I am inspired by her as a woman.
Yes.
I am inspired by her grace. I am inspired by the fact that she has maintained who she is throughout. I am inspired by the fact that she knows that it is her duty and her responsibility to put a hand and to extend to others who will come after her a helping hand on the rung upwards. I'm inspired that that is not lost on her. There are many persons who are who they are when they are with you. And as they begin to climb the ladder, you see a completely different person. She appears to have been able to keep it quite level. And this is not the first of her firsts. You know, she really had begun blazing trails even in her home state of California. So this is not a first for her. And there's something else I just want to point out that is remarkable about what's happening today. Remember that the Senate is now split 50-50, Democrats and Republicans. Kamala Harris, as the president of the Senate, is the person who will cast the deciding vote should there ever be a tie.
Wow, yes.
So she wields power within and outside of the fact that she was elected as the first female vice president. Substantive to that role is what she will be able to accomplish should it become necessary for her to make that deciding vote.
And this is amazing because we are in a place as women now to be, not that we weren't heard before, but they will hear us more. They will listen. It will be engraved in their thoughts that, as we would say, women, we run the world. We now really run the world, right? We really now run the world. That's who we are. And we should feel good about that because as I'm going to say Ambassador Jackson, I know you don't like it, but beat me after. Ambassador Jackson.
What I say is when I'm working, I'm working. To me, tonight, I'm working, I'm among sisters. I don't mind being called Jackson. Like I say all the time, I love my name. So I'm with sisters. You know, yeah, when I'm working, I'm working. When I'm not working, I'm absolutely not working.
Absolutely. So as she said, she'll be the one casting the deciding vote. And that's what I love. And I love that, you know, not only she's our color, she understands women. And that's what I love about it. So thank you so much for that input, Jackson. And we're going to take it over to Sophia Davis, who actually, and what the one thing I want to ask Sophia Davis tonight. Sophie, you have 17 magazines international around the world. And, you know, Vogue and Elle did 2 covers. And when I look at those 2 covers, and I'm going to pull them up on my shared screen right now so you guys can see, those of you who did not, but I'm going to show you guys. Okay. Can you guys see that?
Yes. So
this is one cover. Sophia, what are your thoughts? What do you guys think? Sophia, you're an amazing publisher. I am the editor-in-chief of Fashion Caribbean. And you put covers together all the time for the celebrities in the design market. Tell me something about this cover.
Well, first of all, I like this cover because one of the things it does is it says power without, you know, you don't need anything else. Mm-hmm. It says power. The way she's standing, she means business. She's soft and feminine, her hair. The color, when you look at it, is soft and inviting. So although she is a powerful woman, she's not a hard woman. You see what I'm saying? I think it's very inviting. And I think this particular cover is very nice. I like this cover very much.
I'm gonna show you the L cover now. You guys don't mind? What do you think about this one? Fashion
well,
Mom.
I like this cover again very much because I think what it does again is show her as powerful but soft. It shows her feminine. You know, she has her heels on. You know, she's taking care of business, but again, she means business as well. And I think that a lot of people say, why does she wear pants? And I don't think the pants are a symbol of masculinity in any way. I think what she is saying is, I am here to take care of business and I can wear anything. And I think she looks great in it. It looks powerful, it's comfortable, and it's inviting.
So definitely these are some impact moments from one of our best of the best in the New York market, and I would say in the regional area. Sophia Davis giving our insight. And when you look at today's garments, and I'm going to show you guys today's garments that she was wearing, because I feel that when we look at her today, wearing purple, which symbolics a lot. What are you guys' thoughts? When we think about purple and we see her now in a dress, what do you think, Sophia Davis?
I'm sorry, I had to just turn my audio down a second because I'm in the front there and I get a little feedback. This I loved on her. You know, the blue is almost like inviting, you know, very, it's powerful, but soft enough that it says feminine. It's very easy. She has gloves, and she has a dress on. So this is another thing. It shows that she can wear a dress and she can wear the pants, but it doesn't change who she is. And I think that this was a great look. And I think there's a picture of her and Michelle Obama together.
Yes.
And that, I think, is like the perfect shot of two powerful women together. Michelle Obama has pants on and Kamala has on a dress. And it just shows the power of the two without being what you would call the mad Black woman or the angry Black woman. You don't see that in these photos. You see power, you don't see anger. And I think that's very important that she come across that way. She's approachable.
Excellent.
She doesn't look like the type of person you can approach.
And Sophia Davis, do you think that the other businesses at this moment will utilize Kamala, like Converse, she wear her Chucks? Do you think they're gonna create something for her in that arena? Or the pearls, do you think somebody's gonna pick her up with the pearls? Like, what do you think is gonna happen in a couple months? And Camille, this goes to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you.
Should I?
Yes.
Well, I'll just say quickly that one, it's already happening. From the moment she walked on that stage in a pantsuit with pearls, it's already happening. Everybody is zooming about her pearls. They're talking about pearls. Pearls have always, in my opinion, been in fashion, but everybody, I'm talking about everybody, is wearing pearls to represent her, to say, I stand with you, to let her see that she's not alone out there. And I think that that's very important.
And today we had, like I told all my friends, everybody to post pictures of her wearing the pearls, and everybody was actually posting. And it was such an epic moment that you could see that everybody was behind her 100%. I was on the streets today and I had on my chucks and I had on my pearls. So for me, it was just about representing the strongness and seeing the strongness come to life today. And that's what I love. Camille, do you have anything to say about that?
I think today when you look at the internet, I think we just blew the internet over. Everyone was wearing clothes, everyone was wearing chalk. It is definitely a fashion statement and more to come on that. Definitely.
And I know you always wear chucks, and you sent me a picture today wearing your chucks. So that was amazing. So thank you so much.
Anytime.
Anything else, Sophia Davis, you think from a magazine perspective, from a fashion sense that we could talk about or you want to relate to the team today?
Well, I did want to say that everyone is scrambling to dress her. I know designers that have contacted me, and I mean, people are literally lined up that want to dress her. And I think what they have to do is catch her style. Because her style, you can't put just anything on her. She can wear anything, but she has her own style. So I think that's going to be something for designers to catch that style, and then they'll be able to dress Kamala.
And I'm thinking that she's going to be almost somewhat of a Michelle Obama, affordable brands. I don't think she's going to go too high end. I think she's going to be in the middle, because looking at her personality, I know it looks like that's what's going to happen. But I can't wait to see the fashion statements that's coming out, because this is just the beginning. And just if she's hearing this, I would like to style you, Kamala. Okay. I'm putting that out there. Okay. The Queen of Style would love to style you. Yes, definitely. So as we get into it, Dr. DeBarros, you are here, and I know, tell us about an achievement of a successful woman, and how do you strike the balance between professional life and your family life? And what would you say to your clients?
So I have been doing this line of work for about 15, 18 years now, and working primarily in the university settings, college counseling centers, and also for a short time in community mental health. The idea was, I think, in terms of our parents, our mothers, our grandmothers, and how just growing up, I think my mom was probably the first, because my grandmother didn't work outside the home. She raised a family, and really starting to balance having a family and being a professional woman and what that means. And essentially, it was, as the saying goes, it takes a village. And I think that having the grandparents around, having family that could come in and check on the kids if you had to run somewhere, being able to trust the people that you were close to look out for your children if you had to do something that was based on your job, based on your profession. So that's something that now I find that as we have become global, if you will, that is very different. It's very difficult for us to find people that we do trust to take care of our children, look out for our children while we are in the workplace, doing what we're doing, empowering ourselves, empowering other women, young people, to be passionate about what they're thinking about and pursuing, or any hiccups that we can probably help them with. I think that those are some of the challenges. And one of the aspects for me personally is that I have had to use paid daycare centers because I'm not close to you, Wendy, you're far away from me, or anybody else. So that makes it a little bit more difficult, where, you know, I might be driving by the daycare and I was like, oh, I see my kids outside and they're playing on the playground. I might stop and look in through the fence to see if everything is okay. So it's a little bit different when you're not you're not close to your family. And I like to think about or go back to what Jacinth was saying, because I feel like where we find our strength is with each other as sisters. I think sometimes, you know, it's really hard if you can see a woman who's striving for something and you can offer a kind word, if you can offer a suggestion that says, you know, I don't want to step on your toes, or, you know, from my experience, this is how this has worked, then definitely I see that as a plus. It brings us all up together. I was walking one day and away, like going to my car, I was coming from a meeting, and a young woman, a much younger woman than me, stopped and she said, "You look nice." And I was like, wait a minute, like that's like a girl, you know, about 20 years old on a college campus. I'm just like, I have my goal. I need to get to this next place. And it really stopped me in my tracks, because that's the kind of grace, kindness that we need as professional women, that we're balancing a number of different things. And helping, there was, in my experience, I remember I had one client who had come in to see me, and this was in the community, had come in for some help and would not admit what was really going on with her. For me, I definitely saw signs of anxiety, just a really unsettled home situation, but no education at all to speak of. And I asked her, "What do you want? What is it that you want out of this life?" And she looked at me dead in my face and she said, "I want your job." And I said, "Come and get it." And the thing is, I said, "Where do we start?" And to find out, like I said, she did not finish high school. She did not have a high school diploma or a GED. And that's where we started. But I had actually worked with this woman and her husband, and he had a GED. And from my assessment, she was way smarter than him. And I wondered, well, how is it that he has a GED and you don't? Like, what happened there? And so again, the roles that we play, like, are you being supportive? Are you stretching yourself such that you leave yourself undone as a wife in the home and some other things are undone? And she says, "Oh no, he was in prison." And I said, "Oh no, you don't need to go to prison to get a GED. How do we get this for you?" And it was really helpful for me to walk her through that process, because I had been working in the academy for a long time, and these students were not coming from that place. They had already had that. They had parents who were supporting them in a number of ways. And so with this woman, I think she was in early 30s. And I said, you know, like, let's do this. So we started, and she was able to earn her GED at the 98th percentile. And so it's like I said, this was not a stupid woman. And I left that place, but then we kept in touch, and she sent me pictures some years later with graduation regalia on. And she says, "I graduated. I just want to tell you that I'm very, very thankful." 2 years later, she sent me another set of pictures. "I've got my master's." I said, "Well, are you going for that job?" "I don't have it anymore, but do you still want it?" Because I was referring to that conversation that we had so many years ago. And did she want to still pursue a career in social services, in the helping professionals, in human services, something like that? And she did. And so I saw myself as a role model. And as you know, Wendy, we spoke earlier today that this was not what I planned to wear. And when I saw Kamala in her purple, and I'm not a style fashion person either, I said, you know, the thing is that we never know. Again, as Sophia, Camille, and Jacinth had said, we never know how we are affecting people, what people see when they look at us. You are impacting somebody's life, and they can certainly draw from you. They admire you. And so we always have to represent that. We are representing ourselves in a very graceful, respectful way, because, I mean, the little girls are watching, you know.
Absolutely. And the thing about it, when, you know, it was such a coincidence when she said, "Which one?" Like, you know, I'm still her stylist. I still style her to this day. I've been styling her since I was 5 years old, but I still style her.
Right.
called me and she said, which outfit? So I said, Camilla had the purple, so I guess you can do the purple. So definitely, thank you for representing power and representing women and showing attributes to be successful, and actually that individual letting her be empowered to be great. So that
Absolutely.
was really amazing.
Absolutely.
Corinne, what do you think are some of the barriers that deter women of color from offering themselves to public service?
Thank you so much for the question, Wendy. And thanks again for this platform and this opportunity to have a dialogue about us women and about Kamala and her accomplishments and women like Kamala. I believe that public service, many women are immersed in public service. We are teachers, we are advisors, we are in so many areas of public service. I think the issue is elective office. I think there's a challenge there, as Ambassador Jacinth alluded to, having a kind of thick skin for that type of work. But we are in service in so many ways. So there's something about why we're so comfortable serving. We are teachers, we are Sunday school teachers, we are in every realm or every aspect of leadership outside of politics. There's something about the political field that some women, or elective office, I should say, that women find it difficult or have zero interest in aspiring to that. We are comfortable in our roles, being the wind beneath a man's wings, or being the wings beneath, an organization or an entity's survival, depending on the area of business that we are involved in. But elective office requires us to leave our children, leave our husbands or our spouses, and we have to commit to a certain level of rigor, so to speak, that is demanding of elective office. So I think there are several challenges that women face, just being a woman. And I think everybody so far has spoken to some of the things that will help us to gain that confidence, support each other. Sometimes people get offended if you are frank, but I think part of being responsible in terms of leadership or support is being frank, with each other. Being fair, being firm, but in terms of, making that decision to be in elective politics, I think once you assert yourself to the point, especially younger girls, I mean, there will be, and there are already, an array of young women who are interested in elective office, whether it's here, throughout the world. Women have gotten all that gusto now to say, I will. Maybe, 10, 12, 13 years ago, women had this comfortability in being, and not women across the board, but there are many women who just were comfortable being the shoulder, we rub shoulders with the men and we say, go ahead, because we have to stay back with the kids, we have to stay back with family. And then we deny ourselves that responsibility of becoming leaders, because it's such a challenging field. So I think that's one of the areas. I know there are many areas, but I think because of the demand that's placed on women who wear multi-hats, we prefer to, yield to men. But I think there is a growing interest among younger women, especially in, raising their hands and asserting themselves for leadership roles.
What do you think is going to change in the next couple of years now Kamala is VP? You think that younger girls are going to aspire to be more than the average? Because I think sometimes, as you just said, we kind of cut ourselves short a little bit. So you think now there's an opportunity where everybody now will be looking for or wanting to be president or vice president.
Women, girls. I think, we tend to use a lot of these phrases loosely, but when somebody like Kamala blazes the trail that she has, she opens up so many possibilities for women. And I think, even interestingly enough, in this in her reality, I think it also opens up the eyes of young boys too, because they now get to realize, where they're going to be in the next 10, 15 years. They can expect the daring spirit of women to challenge them to roles of authority and leadership. So definitely Kamala's experience, or her rise to this powerful position, will definitely influence young girls.
Amazing, 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 amazing.
Wendy, may I support something that Corinne just said?
Absolutely.
The truth is that for the society to work optimally, we really need the balance of ideas and actions from males and females. Whatever good may have come out of past experiences in which men predominated in the political arena, it can only improve if you have a balanced approach to resolving the issues affecting society, males and females. And women contribute not just to remedy our own problems, but we are the mothers of sons and daughters that we want to do well equally. And so when we push, we tend to push to a large extent for solutions to family issues, so that we are really creating solutions for the global problem that may be affecting us as a society, rather than picking one little issue aside here and there. We treat, and we can tell the men what to do to speak on our behalf, but I think it's better said when we say it for ourselves.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I support what Corinne just said in that regard.
Yes. Anybody else have any other comments? Anything else to add in? Okay, this panel is quiet today. Okay. All right, we're gonna move on to Dr. Diva. Dr. Diva up there. She said not to call me Dr. Virginia, call me Dr. Diva. I love it. I love it.
Hi again, how are you guys? So I'm here to address the issue of diversity in medicine. And as you guys know, medicine is a male-dominated field. It always has been. And by 2025, we may get close to women catching up to the number of men practicing medicine. 2025. So the first African-American doctor that was female was graduated in 1864. The first white female was 1847. So quite a few years before a Black woman was allowed to go to medical school. So even now, women of color represent 2.6% of doctors in this nation. So we're not very well represented.
No.
No. And diversity is measured through a prism of race, through gender, age, and sexual orientation. But we're going to only address race and gender today. We're going to talk about Black females. So one of the things that Wendy asked me was, what are the challenges that I find in my field? My challenge is that no matter where I've worked, there's been decreased access to care. There's huge disparities in terms of how care is administered to people of color, especially to women of color. Women of color are not listened to by some of my peers. They're not listened to by white females, they're not listened to by white males, and sometimes they're listened to by Black male physicians. So that is a problem that we have. And then there's disparities in terms of accessibility to care for breast cancer accessibility to care for prostate cancer, because those are the big two that affect our people of color. And of course, there's hypertension and diabetes, but I find that there is not enough education provided to people of color. And I'm thinking maybe they think that we're stupid and we can't understand, but just like everybody does with their fields, if somebody can't understand at your level, you break it down to the 6th grade level, then you're successful. So that's part of the problem that I see. And then she asked, what are the successes that I've found in the field? Well, the fact that there are more people of color attending medical school now, especially women attending medical school, that bodes well for the field. You're going to see more of us eventually. I mean, even now in places where I work, I am the sole African-American internist in that hospital today, 2021.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, that's a hardship because I don't see people that look like me. I'm the only one. And then the other thing that you asked me, Wendy, was what accomplishment is that I'm most proud of? I graduated. I'm here. People see me. I'm a role model for other girls. I'm actually a mentor for the Disney Dream Team. And that way me, Black female from the Caribbean, can go out and represent, and people see that they too can be a successful Black female physician, which is an anomaly. We're the unicorns of medicine.
Dr. Diva, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Being the only African-American right now working in your
Mm-hmm.
how does that make you feel?
Well, in the hospitals, I mean, in many of the hospitals where I worked, there are not very many of us. It's kind of isolating and sometimes a little bit nerve-wracking because I remember a situation where I was working I went as far west as Cheyenne, Wyoming. And I walked into the cafeteria at lunchtime and literally, not exaggerating at all, everybody stopped eating and turned around and looked at me. We are not well represented. And especially in a hospital system, you see more people that look like me in pediatrics or GYN, family medicine, but as an internist / hospitalist, that doesn't exist.
Wow.
Or it's very rare. So it's an uncomfortable feeling.
And I agree with you because we don't have that much, as you said, much people going into that field. So I think you, as having the mentorship program over there in Florida, that's something you can open up waves for the children to see.
Absolutely.
A possibility. It is a possibility. Or not even a possibility. It can be done.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I don't deal with possibilities and I don't deal with can't.
Yeah.
I do. And this is
absolutely
what can happen.
Absolutely.
So, and my sister is laughing at me because growing up as a child, I said, no, it's not can. This is what we're going to do. And she's the older one. I'm telling her, this is what we're going to do.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think like the empowerment and the strong will and the strong personalities that we have as women, we need to make sure that we're sharing that with individuals and finding some sort of mentorship for us to show them that it is possible. I know in the fashion world, me and Sophia Davis, we do have mentorship and we do mentor a lot of the models and a lot of the girls that work with us. But we need to, as I said, spread our wings and not be afraid and open avenues for everybody. Because like I am even feeling empowered today with Kamala because I feel like I'm on the top of the world and there's no stopping me. You understand? So for me, what obstacle is high enough? What there's no obstacle right now that can stop me because I'm gonna push through and make it happen. And I think that everybody need to focus on that. If everybody mentor 2 or 3 individuals, you know how this place will be. You know what education would look like. You know how our skin color and our vibrancy would look like in this world. We'll be unstoppable. And that's where we need to go. Okay? So I'm going to turn it off to Miss Camille Austin out there, Miss First Lady of Retail. First Lady of Retail, you're very quiet this evening, and I know you're not quiet. So tell us a little bit, Camille.
Camille Austin.
What does Kamala represent to you? because you're Caribbean descent, you're from Trinidad, you know, tell us, what does that mean to you?
Well, Wendy, today was very historical. Lots of people said here, I did not, but it was one of the proudest moments of my life.
A little bit low, Camille. A little bit low.
I said today, a lot of people said that they shed a tear. For me, I did not, but it was one of the proudest moments of my life. When you think about Blackness, when you think about when you think about we have got what it takes, she represents us.
Yeah.
And with each one of us on the call tonight, I mean, I think of myself, as you just mentioned, as Kamala Harris. How am I representing her as a Black individual? How am I getting up every day and empowering myself to be better? To your point, how are we mentoring people? How are we mentoring kids and ladies and letting them know that they can be Kamala Harris? So to me, it's about being prideful. It's about being honored. And I'm not her, but I am honored because I am a Black woman who thinks and knows that if we continue along this trend of breaking ceilings, the sky's the limit. We can and we will.
Absolutely. And you know, we're gonna switch it up a bit because we have my dear sister over there, Charlotte, who actually do a lot of reformation. And you know, her field is a field that, you know, I tell her every day, I don't know how you do it. I don't. You know, and I respect her because of her probation, as a probation officer of all different levels and what she has done. So Shola, take it away.
Hi, good evening again, everyone. Thank you so much. Wendy, I am honored and humbled to be here with all these wonderful, brilliant ladies here this evening. Thank you so much. But with me, Wendy, to be honest with you, it started with my humble beginnings. I'm from St. Kitts. I am from Westbourne Gut, and I am proud to be from there. All along, I knew that growing up, I wanted to be somebody. So I gravitated towards people like Jacinth Henry Martin, who will send a car to pick me up and take me to modeling, inspired me to be a flight attendant with Liat and all of that. But in my head, I knew that I always wanted to be somebody. And every person that encountered Shirley Hendricks, you're gonna be better after you leave me. Well, that's what I thought in my mind. And I hope that I have, you know, pushed that across to people. So coming from Westbourne Gut, like I said, I never thought that, you know, the college thing was gonna be for me, even though I know that I wanted to elevate in life. So I always wanted to be an attorney, but I didn't have attorney money. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna, the degrees that was available to me was the criminology field. And I said, eventually I would probably get into law school and get my Juris Doctorate. But when I completed my degree in criminal justice, I became a probation officer in Tennessee. So I did 2 years as a probation officer in Tennessee. Living in Tennessee, you know, it's a different state. You know, you could be a probation officer for someone who is your neighbor because, you know, the standard of living is very high there. And then I moved on to Virginia, where I'm at now. So I am dealing with different people on different kinds of levels. And going into the field as a probation officer, I elevated to senior probation and parole officer. I was able to have more influence as a senior probation and parole officer, where I was responsible for a particular prison. And I will go into the prison and someone looking like me, like, you know, with the makeup and things like that, they would be like, you're a probation officer? Okay, well, I want you to be my probation officer. But with that, I was able to help people to be better. And it's as simple as that. Just letting people know that you see them, you hear them, and they matter. It's as simple as that. And so the Virginia Department of Correction, if you studied us, we have the lowest form of recidivism, simply because we are not just locking people up and forgetting about them. Once you enter the prison system with the Virginia Department of Corrections, it's automatic that you will get the care that you need to transition back to the community as a productive citizen. And so that is through education. And with me, I implemented my programs. I implemented the GED programs. Children of incarcerated parents knows that when I call Ms. Hendricks, I'm able to get my backpacks to go back to school. They know that there's something going to be under the tree for them for Christmas. And, you know, on a more serious note, the men get the prison that I'm working with, it's an all male prison. And I will say to you that I meet some geniuses in these prisons. Like, I learn so much from these guys, just from listening to them, their backgrounds, and knowing that they want to do better, but they just want someone to show them how to do better. And so that's kind of my role in a nutshell, is to provide them with the programs and things like, you know, everything that we do, they are assessed. So it's not like you just see somebody and it fits the mold for everyone. You know, you get an assessment and it determines your level of supervision and the level of help that you need. If it's substance abuse or housing, employment, education, you are assessed, and then we determine what treatment you will need according to the assessment that you get. And so it's a holistic approach that we do with the Virginia Department of Corrections. And it's just wonderful when you get the calls from the families. Sometimes you have to arrest people, you know, because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. You're managers of people's lives, and they will send you a letter. Ms. Hendricks, thank you for arresting me. Thank you for keeping me away from myself if they're a substance abuser. So it's a lot of satisfaction in this job. Coming into this field because I know it was perceived as a male-dominated field, I was not gonna allow that to, just because I knew that I was gonna conquer it. So I went into that field thinking that my gender is not a factor. You know, my gender is not a factor. It's from one human being to the next. And people, when you come with your realness and when you come with letting people know, look, like I asked some of the guys, is your mom, is she rich? And, you know, I have my island accent and they just, you know, want to know, like, what is this lady saying? Is your mom rich? No, she's not. Well, the only thing you can do for your mom is to be a better person, is to make something of your life. And let's start now. Tell me what it is you wanted to do as a child. We assessed you. We realized that you don't have a GED. Do you want to start there? Do you want to get your CDL license? Do you want to open your own business? Do you want to learn how to code? What is it you want to do? So they have an input as well of what they want to do, that when they transition to the community, they're productive. They're good husbands, good brothers, good sisters, good parents to their children. So being in that field, because it was perceived as a male-dominated field, I just knew that I was coming in as my gender would not be a factor.
Amazing, amazing. And I think, like, you know, when we, you know, how you share your strengths is definitely an opportunity for everyone to see how strong we are. I know they say women are stronger than men, and I think we are all over the world, because we're here and we could do everything and we do twice as better. You know, if my dad hear me now, he'll like pop me in my mouth, but we could do twice as better. But this is why I always say we have to push each other forward as women.
Absolutely. And then another thing too, Wendy, it's like knowing that you came from humble beginnings. You just want to make your parents proud. For me, I started out with 7 siblings. Now it's only 3 of us left. I feel like I am an ambassador for my siblings who are not here. So every single thing that I do, I try to do with excellence. And I try to, you know, surround myself with positivity all the time. You have to wake up every day and make a choice to just feel good. Just say, I'm going to feel good. It doesn't matter what. You know, you have to feel good, and then it comes off to other people as well to want to do the same.
Great, great, great. Thank you so much, Charla. Beverly, as a behavioral therapy analyst, what hot topic has affected your profession as a woman?
Good evening, everyone. Once again, I would say the hot topic in my profession over the past maybe 8 months have been the Black Lives Matter movement. The Black Lives Matter movement is not just a movement, it's not just a movement. Well, you hear me? It's not just a movement about the police and the funds that goes to the police and law enforcement. It's also an issue of equity. And when I say equity, I'm talking about equity within professions. For example, the police department receives a lot of funds to intervene in mental health issues that people, social workers, mental health counselors, behavioral analysts, psychologists, many people actually go to school and get training for these professions. However, the funds are not there to provide the services, so then and therefore the services are not being provided. So in turn, what do we get? We get more crime. So that's my issue, and that's what I have been thinking about. And some of us are not willing to say defund the police, but we are willing to say refund education, refund mental health services, nurses in the schools, social workers. When you think about it, they call it, I'm in Florida. They're calling police officers for 6-year-old girls who refuse to sit in a seat. Now, if this is the United States and we can send people to space, we can put a man on the moon, are you telling me we cannot teach a 6-year-old child how to sit in a seat? We can. We see these issues, we see them growing, we ignore them because we refuse to put the funds into these services. So I'm encouraging you to support not defunding the police if that's something that makes you uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that police services, I'm not saying law enforcement is not important. I mean, Shirley just spoke and she spoke about her role in law enforcement and how she helps the community and she helps to get people back on track. She spoke about recidivism and how the rate in Virginia is low because of the efforts they're making there. And those efforts are in things such as education. So I just want to encourage everyone, not just to think about how the Black Lives Matter movement affect people in poor communities, but it also affects us in other ways. If you think about your family members, your friends, these are people in fields such as nursing. I don't know any Black family who doesn't have someone who's a nurse or who wants to be a nurse. So these are fields such as nursing, fields such as education, fields such as counseling. These are fields that Black people actually serve in. These are fields that Black women actually serve in. So the funds are not coming to the fields that Black women are working in. We need the funds to come to us because we do have the ability. All we need is the resources. And the inauguration today for me, it signals that maybe something will be different. Maybe the resources will be distributed in a more equitable way. So I'm hopeful and I'm motivated. I want everybody to be hopeful, motivated, and think about it in a different way. Think about how it impacts you and how it impacts your community. Because the bottom line, when we come down to it, it's all about resources. Thank you for listening to me. And I hope you've learned something from what I said today.
Thank you, Beverly.
Absolutely, Beverly. I'm sorry, Wendy, I had to jump in there because I follow you, Beverly, to my core. And the reason why I say that is because people are taking Black Lives Matter literally and defund the police literally. And that's not what it means. you don't want to send a police officer to a home where it's a mental health situation. So the monies have to be dispersed, right, how they're supposed to be for mental health and all these different services for the call that was made to 911. Right. And then when you say Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, but at this time, Black lives is what's being affected right now. And when you see people marching in the streets, it's not only Black people marching in the streets, all kinds of people are marching in the streets to defend Black Lives Matter. So people just need to really understand, you know, that the resources needs to go where they're supposed to go to impact our communities in a positive way. Thank you so much, Beverly, for sharing that.
Right, and Beverly and I have worked together. We went to school together. And so it's like, when you think in terms of a psychologist and the police, so the fields, criminology, law enforcement, I am not going into a situation where it's dangerous for me. And so we have to work hand in hand with the police to go into a situation to de-escalate the situation before I can come in and do my work and help the people, whether they are, you know, whatever the issues are. And a lot of times, like you said, Beverly, the police are not trained to do what we do. And so we have to work hand in hand to make sure that for people that look like us, because a lot of times we're the ones who are on the receiving end of whatever the trouble is, but that we are also on the other side, that we're providing the strategies, we're providing the help to make the situation a little less toxic so that people can be productive, that they can establish little goals. Again, Shirla, is like, okay, well, where do you come from? Can you just afford to just be an unproductive person? What are you contributing to your society? And so a lot of times, like I talked earlier about the women, how women sometimes leave themselves undone because they're supporting a family. The family is more important, as you're saying, Jacinth. It's like the family is important. We're not by ourselves. Women have sons, women have daughters, women have husbands, and so it's really sort of we're holding all of it up. You know, we're holding the whole structure up. And so that's our importance, that's our role. And we definitely, again, I circle back to the support, the grace, the role modeling, all of that is absolutely necessary.
Ladies, this is amazing. I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time out this evening to be here with me, because what we are doing is empowering everybody in the world today. This is live. This is international. This is beyond us. So our voices will be heard. Our perspective will be heard and shared. And I think that we have to continue doing what we do best. And I will definitely have a part 2 of this discussion, just to follow up with the ladies on what can we do differently as a team to get a better understanding and develop people differently. And I think that's needed. So I have a couple questions that I'm going to throw out to the panel. I'm not going to say who. We're just going to have open discussion. Do you think Kamala Harris should run for president? Jacinth, what are you saying?
Well, to answer that question, honestly, it's not like she hasn't done it already. Yes. Remember, she was in the race for the presidency.
Yeah.
She was not successful. I believe that this role in which she now finds herself, luckily for all of us as women of color and people generally in the United States, I think this experience is going to give her added impetus. I am uncertain as to whether the current president has decided whether he will or will not attempt to run for a second term. And I'm sure that being someone who is loyal, that if her president decides to run, I'm sure that she will continue to run on the same team as he is, as his vice presidential running mate. So if it, for 2024, it says that if the current president is running, it is unlikely that she will run. Notwithstanding, and even before she has been elevated to vice president, she had all of the experience, the characteristics. She had all of the aplomb, all of the relatable traits that would have made her a fantastic president. And so, do I think she should run again for president in the future? Absolutely. And I can't see how this experience of her serving as vice president can do any less than prepare her even more to assume that role should she decide to enter the field again. So certainly, I am unable to vote in the United States of America. I'm not a citizen, but certainly as a woman of color, as someone who can readily relate to all that she represents, and even some of her experiences, having been in elective politics myself, I definitely think she should run.
Who else? What are you guys thinking?
Of course you should run. To me, Kamala, she is not intimidated by, she may be the only woman in the room at times. I don't think she'll ever be intimidated by the men in the room. I think she's gonna create some substantial policies for the disenfranchised. I believe that, you know, people of color now have hope. Women have more hope. And if she was to run, I think she'll be successful and as probably becoming president of the United States. Because now I know that at this moment, she knows that she have a lot to prove. So as she have a lot to prove, she's gonna go in there and she's gonna work it for us. And I mean, hands down, everybody is gonna run to that ticket. I am rooting for her. Chucks and pearls, honey.
Chucks and pearls.
Personality. And personality.
Yes, yes. Chucks and pearls and personality in the White House. Can you believe that?
And action.
And action. Love it. Definitely.
Results. We want to see results. We want, yes. It doesn't matter if your parents make $1 million or $17 an hour. You should be able to go to any school and get the same education. Because I'm telling you, education have lift me up, lift me out. And I just feel like once someone secures higher education, the sky's the limit. I am here to tell you that.
Fashion mom, what do you think that the fashion world will look like going forward in the next 3 months? We have Fashion Week coming up in February, which is virtual. Everything is virtual. Nothing is in person. Do you think they're gonna adapt some new items for her, some new designs? What do you think is gonna happen there?
Well, I think that what may happen is a lot of people are going to develop styles for Kamala Harris, meaning you will see a thread of it through their collection.
Yeah.
So if someone has 15 pieces, you're probably going to see, you know, maybe 8 of those pieces that have pearls. And those pearls are always going to be a representation, like a respect to her. And I think that that's very important because, you know, like the other young lady said, she can be president. It makes you have faith that, you know, you can change things. And you know, young people are influenced, whether you do something good or you do something bad, you are still an influence. And seeing her up there, able to be, quote, in a man's world, so to speak, because this is the first female VP we've ever had, that gives every single little girl hope. And I think that that is so important. So I believe the fashion industry is going to just love her. They're going to envelope her, you know, they're going to grab her. They're going to, you know, want everything kind of like surrounding her. And I think she can certainly be president.
Absolutely. First Lady of Retail, do you see the Chuck's prices going up? Because now, you know, it was one price now, but it's gonna be doubled because Kamala is the VP. What do you see happening there?
I'm not sure of that. I'm sure that we will sell a lot and you will see a lot more people wearing Chucks. Don't know about the inflation of prices, but definitely, and I think too, you will see a lot of custom out there.
Yeah.
You know, with her on it, with different things representing her. You might even see Chucks with pearls.
Well, I'm waiting for that one because even though I could bedazzle my own, I'm waiting for the Chucks with pearls that has her little emblem that says,
yeah.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Definitely coming.
So, ladies, what do you think that we should look forward towards? Because this is day one, right? It's not even day one. Tomorrow is day one. So, Corinne, what would you look for? What are you looking for going forward?
You did say tomorrow is day one, but as you see, President Biden already started, you know, he's at work already.
Yes.
Kamala, they're already at work. So, you know, going forward, I think, I don't think the objective is to necessarily belittle what was not done right before. I think their issues will be policy, you know, domestic policy as well as international. But I think the quest moving forward, and this is collectively speaking, Kamala has her work to do as VP and as does Joe Biden. But I believe the focus will really be about mending, healing wounds moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, part of what we recognize is that there's this feeling in America, listen, you know, when we look at what happened on the 6th of January, the feeling is that almost half of the country did not vote for Joe Biden. You've seen so many surveys done as to where people's heads are in terms of people who support the former president and those who support Joe and Kamala. You know, there are issues that have to be dealt with. There's an impeachment, and we understand the science of, you know, surrounding, you know, things on the out there portion of what has to happen now. But the key question of going forward, it is about healing and you know, and moving forward. I mean, that's what moving forward is about. So to heal means in this instant, you know, the olive branch must be stretched out, and keep the passion for service. I think the American people demand it. But I think I always talk about America as being this, you know, we talk about, you know, all the ills that come to everybody else when America is sick or when America has this cold or sneezes, right? And so America has to essentially fix itself, recalibrate. It won't be easy, but the way forward must be about mending fences. And I think, you know, the world demands it. Americans need it. You see how many people are unemployed. You see how many people are suffering. The vaccine, the issue with the vaccine, the issue with the COVID, you know, no more China virus. We call it what it is. It is a virus. We need, you know, relief, we need vaccines. Again, overall, mending, healing wounds, rebuilding and uplifting.
Wendy, to add to that, I want to say in the area of the response to COVID, not just the fact that COVID exists and we have to call it what it is, but there is a new signal being sent that the onus is on us collectively to defeat the virus.
Yes.
It's not just your doctor or the politician, that if together, and I think President Biden made that call, and from her own, Vice President Kamala also went and she took the vaccine, and from their own signals that they're sending, let us do what we need to do as individuals and we can get this thing done. That signal is also being sent from the White House. I understand that now, if you're working at the White House, you have to do social distancing, you have to use your mask. And so the head is leading as it should. I also think going forward, we're going to have a new respect for historical Black colleges and universities. Kamala Harris is coming out of Howard university. And, you know, there's some persons who may have their own views about the type of education or the mix of persons, you know, that would generally attend historical Black college or university. And we have seen not just Vice President Kamala Harris, one of the persons elected in the state of Georgia also is an alumnus of a historical Black college and university. And so I believe a newfound regard for the trajectory that can be added to your life just from the experience, the broad experience of having attended an HS and historical Black college and university, I think that is going to be there as well. But the final thing that I would say is coming out of all of this is that there is a new respect and regard for people. You can't disrespect people pervasively, daily, and expect it not to become the norm. At some point, it begins to seep through your psyche that's normal, when it is clearly not normal. The tone that's being set now is completely different. And hopefully, it engenders calm and balance and civility, that we can differ without brawling, that there's no need for it, and that once that level of balance obtains, that good things hopefully can come out of a situation, and not just good for one side, good for everybody. So I think those are some of the things that I expect to see coming out of this new dispensation.
Anybody else want to add in anything as they're looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the healing of the country, and just seeing now where, you know, people treat each other with dignity and respect, and it starts from the head. It starts from the head, you know. If you're going to have a president or whoever in charge, and, you know, you're calling people stupid or loser or sleepy or whatever, all these things, that is not okay. We wouldn't accept it from a teacher or a coworker. So why would we accept it from somebody trying to lead us? So now I am hopeful, and I am just so looking forward to just waking up feeling a little bit more better, you know, knowing that, you know, we have somebody who is looking out for the best interest of everyone, regardless of who you are, you know? And then with us, we have to also do our part, regardless if you think somebody is beneath you or whatever. Nobody is better than anyone. Every person you encounter, you should treat them with dignity and respect.
Absolutely.
And when you do that, it says something about you as a person as well.
Absolutely.
So that's just my little two cents.
Who wants to go next?
I also think I want to second what sort of Jason said, what Shirla said. I think it's absolutely important that we listen to people, whether we agree with them or not. I think that this is part of what it means for us to be educated, sophisticated, respectful, that, and we see this, you know, across, you know, disciplines, across industries, that sometimes the best way forward isn't that we're all agreeing on everything. Sometimes the best way forward is that somebody can come in and see something that we're not all already seeing, and hence not, we're not censoring each other or forcing each other to see something in a certain way. I think that that is absolutely important for us to be open to many thoughts. People have to have a place where they can put their speech. And I say that just from the work that we do on any level, on any place, that sometimes you look at people and you listen to people, what people are saying, but if we don't let them talk, we never know where they are. And so we don't know how to move forward. We don't know how to plan for what's coming.
Beverly?
Yes, I basically agree with what everyone else said. I'm looking forward to the end of COVID. I know it won't be a complete end, but at least a decrease enough so that we can get back to regular functioning and that I can get outside. Also respecting each other and understanding that people are different. Don't you can't ever judge a book by the cover. People are very different. We're very diverse, and people have to live in their own creative self, because creativity is actually the spice of life.
Yeah. Sophia Davis?
Well, I think that, yes, I am looking forward to going forward. It's going to be a lot of changes. And I think that one of the things that Joe Biden said today that I think was, phenomenal is he said, whether you voted for me or not, I am the president for everybody. This is the United States of America. And when you stop looking at people and seeing what's different, you will start seeing what is the same. Because underneath it all, after you strip away all these degrees and everything, we're all human. So I think it's important to treat everybody with respect, just like the other young lady said. And going forward, I think that it's going to be a newfound respect for everybody, not just Black people, but for everyone.
Camille?
Wendy, for me, I think it's about having the right people in the right place. And I think that started today. And when you look at the people that Joe selected, I'm calling him Joe like I'm friends with him, who he selected to be behind him, they are qualified. I think all of them was chosen for a specific reason. I think when we think about previous leadership, a lot of friends was involved and a lot of favoritism. I think the choices that was made was based on how people could help him change the United States of America and how we can be respected once more by the world, because we have lost a lot of respect.
Amazing. So ladies, I think I kept you long enough. I'm going to say it's been a pleasure. We wouldn't have been able to have this in one room. It's so much greatness here on this show tonight. I love it. Greatness from every different angle. And I want to say, when part 2 comes, it's going to be a couple months because we have to see some progress and we have to see what's happening so we could regroup. But definitely, I want to have a part 2 and I want us to actually come back and speak on what's happening. All right. So guys, I want to say thank you for the special edition of Style Wednesday with me, the Queen of Style. As we would say, don't let the fashion wear you, you wear the fashion. Until next week, guys, it's the Queen of Style, and I'll see you and have a fashionable week. Thank you. Thanks, ladies.
Good night, sisters.
Good night.
Thank you, guys. Good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.